The hot bath isn't going to fix it. I know. I'm sorry to be the one to say it, but the hot bath isn't going to fix it. And the walk, it isn't either. Or the lemon water, or the 30-day reset, or that digital detox you tried last quarter. You remember the one and gave up on by Tuesday afternoon. And listen, I love a hot bath. I love yoga. I love a long stretch in the morning. I love a massage. I love Saturday mornings at the farmer's market with an iced coffee in one hand and fresh flowers in the other. I bought a bouquet of pink ranunculus last weekend that I am still emotionally invested in, but none of that is going to fix what's actually happening to you. Today, we're going to talk about why, and more importantly, what to actually do about it. Let's dive in. Hi, friends. I'm Rachel Starr, and this is Community at Heart. I want to start with something that took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out. For years, I thought I was just really bad at self care, which, in all honesty, I am. But I'd hear other founders talk about their morning routines: lemon water, meditation, 20 minutes of breath work before they checked email. And I'd be sitting at my desk, fully dressed, hair done, iced coffee in hand, doing all of it on paper and somehow still feeling like I was missing something. I bought the planner, I bought the candle. I may have a candle problem. There's no other word for it. I've done the cold plunge thing. I have done the sound bath thing. I have 8 different supplements in a drawer right now, half of which I can't even remember the purpose of. And somehow I was still tired by Tuesday. For a long time, I thought the problem was me. Then I started paying attention. And what I noticed was that every founder I knew was doing the exact same things: the same routines, the same supplements, the same Sunday reset. And every single one of them was also exhausted. So either we were all uniquely bad at self care, or self care, as it's been sold to us, was never designed for the kind of work we're doing. Spoiler, it's the second one. Here's the distinction that changed everything for me. There is a difference between recovery and care. Recovery is what you do on the weekend to survive Monday. Care is how you design your work so it doesn't deplete you in the first place. Most founders I know are stuck in a recovery loop. Push through the week, crash on Saturday, drag yourself back together Sunday, wake up on Monday already a little tired, rinse and repeat. That's not care. That is a treadmill with some rest stops along the way. And the dangerous part is recovery feels like care. It looks like care. You took the yoga class, you went to the farmer's market, you bought the flowers, you posted the picture, you did everything right. But by Tuesday afternoon, you're right back where you started. And you start to wonder if maybe you need a different yoga class. You don't. The yoga class is fine. The flowers are fine. They're just not load bearing. You are recovering from a structure that needs redesigning. And until you redesign the structure, no amount of nice things on the weekend is going to add up to a life that doesn't feel like a slow leak. Before I tell you what to actually do, I want to clear 3 really common misconceptions out of the way because they keep founders stuck for years. Misconception number 1: if I just push through, this phase will pass. Guess what, friend? It won't. The structure exhausting you doesn't get easier as you grow. It gets more demanding. The setup that has you on fumes at 50 members, well, it's gonna definitely have you on fumes at 500. Pushing through is not a strategy, it's a stall tactic. Misconception number 2: burnout means I'm doing something wrong. Post traction exhaustion is not a competency issue. It's a signal your business has outgrown the operational system you built it on. That's not failure. That's feedback. And misconception number 3: I'll rest when I hit my next milestone. Raise your hand if you said that one. The version of you that doesn't rest at 5,000 a month is not going to magically start resting at, say, 50,000. The milestone is not the thing that gives you permission. You are. Now, let's talk about what actually works because I'm not going to sit here, name the problem, list the things that aren't fixing it, and then send you off with a complimentary candle. There are 5 structural shifts I see making the biggest difference for founders. And I'm going to walk you through each one and tell you exactly how to do it. Not in theory, in practice. Things you can start this week. No supplement is required. Number 1, move from time boundaries to momentum boundaries. Most boundary advice is about time. Don't work after 6, take Fridays off, don't check emails on weekends. These are fine, but they're surface boundaries. The deeper version is about momentum. What gets your best thinking? What gets your reactive energy? What gets the leftover scraps? Here's how to actually do this. Step 1, identify your peak thinking windows. For most founders, and myself included, this is the first 90 minutes of the workday. Some of you are night owls. Whatever it is, you already know when it is. You don't need to overthink this. Step 2, block that window on your calendar before anything else gets near it. It does not get used for client calls. It does not get used for emails. It does not get used for Instagram. It gets used for your highest leverage work, the strategic thinking, the writing, the decisions only you can make. Step 3, default everything reactive to a single later window. DMs, Slack, email. All of it gets 1 or 2 windows in the afternoon, not a constant trickle all day. The work gets better. The exhaustion goes down. Everything downstream gets easier. Reduce decisions, not tasks. Founders aren't tired because they have too much to do. They're tired because they're making 300 small decisions a day with no input, no opinion, no shared brain. The exhaustion you feel at the end of the week is not from doing the work, it's from carrying every choice in the work. And here's how you start fixing this one. For 1 week, keep a decision log. Google Doc, Notes app, scrap of paper, whatever. It doesn't need to be a big thing. Every time you make a decision, write it down. Big or small, from what do I say to this client to what color should this button be to do we onboard this new member manually or send them through the flow? At the end of the week, I want you to look at that list. What you will find is that most of your decisions are repeats. You have made the same call 50 times. You just keep making it again and again because you never wrote the answer down. So now you write the answer down. For every reoccurring decision on that list, you make a rule, you make an SOP. If a client asks for a refund inside 14 days, the answer is yes. If someone wants to reschedule a call, my assistant handles it. If a new member asks where to start, they get sent to this exact resource. Then you put those rules somewhere you can find them, somewhere your team can find them. A doc, a Notion page, ClickUp for us, a shared folder. Whatever works. Now you make the decision once, not every time it comes up. Decision load drops, mental clarity goes up. You stop ending the day feeling like your brain ran a marathon in the wrong shoes. I did this myself last year and I continue to do it now. And honestly, I'm shocked by what showed up. I thought I was making big strategic calls all day. And guess what? I was not. I was making the same 5 small decisions on repeat. Once I wrote the rules down, I got back what felt like an entire workday a week just from not having to redecide things I had already decided. Stop performing exhaustion. Now, this one's sneaky. There is a quiet belief floating around founder culture that being tired means you're committed. I bought into that one hard, that if you weren't running yourself into the ground, you'd be slacking. And guess what? It's not true. And the way it shows up is actually subtle. It shows up in how you answer. How are you? With busy. It shows up in posting the humble brag about working all weekend. It shows up in saying sorry for the slow reply when you replied in a perfectly normal amount of time. It shows up in apologizing for taking a vacation. We're out here apologizing for taking vacations, friends, to other people who also need vacations. Here's how to actually shift this. Start noticing when you're about to mention how tired you are. And then just don't say it. Stop saying busy when someone asks how you are. Replace it with anything else. Good, steady, working on something I love. A little quieter than usual, actually. Stop apologizing for slow replies that aren't actually slow. Stop apologizing for taking time off. This sounds small. It's not. The language you use about your work shapes how you experience your work. When you stop performing exhaustion, you stop reinforcing it as your identity. And that opens up space for a completely different way of being a founder. Build recovery into the design of the work, not as a reward for surviving it. Recovery should not be the prize you get for making it through the week. It should be baked into how the week is built. Here's what this can look like in practice. Pick one block of time every week that does not move. Mine is Monday mornings. It is mine. It is not for calls. It is not for client work. It is not for content. It is for deep thinking. It does not move for anything short of an actual emergency. And by emergency, I mean a real one, not a Slack notification. You pick yours. Maybe it's Tuesday afternoon, maybe it's Friday morning. The day doesn't matter. What matters is that it's non-negotiable. It doesn't get rescheduled because someone needs you. It doesn't get pushed because something is on fire. The whole point is that it holds. Then build buffer days into your launches and bigger projects. If you have a launch that ends on a Friday, the following Monday is not for starting the next thing. It's for closing out the last thing. For founders who are perpetually exhausted, it's almost always because there is no air between the demanding seasons. Then make Friday a finishing day, not a starting day. Nothing new gets started on Friday. You close loops, you tie things up, you wrap. So you go into the weekend with a clear plate, not a half-built one. These three things will not transform your life overnight, but over a quarter, they will change the way your work feels. Number 5, quietly remove yourself from things that don't actually need you. This is probably the most underrated structural shift and probably the most powerful. Look at your week, look at what you did, and ask yourself honestly, how much of this could have happened without me? Most founders, when they're honest, will say a surprising amount, possibly an uncomfortable amount. Here is how to start removing yourself. Pick one thing this week that lives only in your head and document it. Just one: the way you onboard a new client, the way you respond to a refund request, the way you handle a content review. Whatever it is, write it down in plain English so that someone else or a future version of you could pick it up without asking you a question. That is a system, friend. That is the beginning of one, anyways. Pick one thing this week that you do reactively and create a default plan for it. Instead of you answering the same question every time, build the doc, the auto response, the page on your website that handles it. The first time you build the default path is obviously going to be annoying. Every time after that, it pays you back. Then pick one thing this week that you say yes to out of habit and ask whether it actually still needs your input. So many of the things draining established founders are things they outgrew 6 months ago. They just never stopped doing them. The weekly call that doesn't need to be weekly, the review you sit in on that you no longer need to be in, the decision you said yes to, making that someone else on your team is fully capable of making. When you start removing yourself from the things that don't need you, two things happen. The business gets easier to run, and you get your brain back for the things that actually do. That is care. That is real structure. Do this on Monday, care. So take the hot bath. I'm still taking the hot bath. I'm still buying the flowers. I'm still going to the farmer's market on Saturdays with my iced coffee, and I'm keeping all of it. I'm keeping the candles, all 8,000 of them. I'm not going anywhere on the supplements either, even though I still do not know what half of them do. But I am also doing the structural work, the protected mornings, the decision rules, the Monday block that does not move, the docs that live outside my head, because the hot bath doesn't have to do the heavy lifting when the structure is doing the heavy lifting. That's the whole shift. Not topical, structural, not earned, designed. Okay, friend, if any of this hit a little close to home today, this is the conversation we're having every single day inside Co-Creator Society. Real founders designing the way they build, not trying to fix themselves, designing something that actually holds. If you want in, head to co-creatorsociety.com. Link is in the show notes. And if this episode said something you needed to hear, share it with one of your founder friends who's also drowning in things she could have written down 6 months ago. Please send it her way. Thanks for hanging out with me today, friends. Take care of yourselves this week, the structural kind, the kind that actually holds. I'll see you next week. Bye, friends.